Today for this live, we're going to be talking about common struggles on the raw diet and possible solutions. So if you have any questions or if you have struggles yourself, please post in the chat and we'll discuss. I can't wait to share with you. And also don't forget the plant-based bundles going on right now. I have pinned the link in the chat. So if you want to support us, if you want to get almost $9,000 worth of plant-based content, go grab the bundle. It's available right now. It ends on November 28th. So we still have a little time for it, but get it now before you forget, because once it's gone, it won't be back until later. So grab it now, and you get 5 of my ebooks in there: the soup book, the taco book, the party food appetizer book, and the holiday menu, so for the holidays coming up, and Let It Snow. You're also getting Nate's Microgreens course to teach you how to grow your own microgreens in your office, and his Dude Food meal plan, and Alive. And again, there's so much stuff in there. There's lots of raw content. This is the biggest bundle. The last bundle that we did was around $4,000 worth of content. Now there's almost $9,000 worth of content. So it's double. Lots more raw, lots more amazing stuff. So go check it out. The link is in the chat. Please go see the treasure chest of awesomeness that's there. But yeah, I wanted to talk today about struggles on raw. So again, if you have any struggles, if you have any questions, it's a Q&A. I want to chat with you. I want to share with you. I want to try to help if you have issues. But we're going to start with the first struggle. Normally is feeling overwhelmed. So a lot of people who start a raw diet feel overwhelmed because there is a lot. Misfit Vegan! Hello, Jeanette's in the house. Best bundle ever, that's for sure. Heck yeah, the bundle is amazing. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, this is a great place to start. I wish I had a bundle like this when I first started. Oh my gosh, would have made things so much easier. There is so much stuff in there, and it can really help with the overwhelm, because then you can just choose. I know there's a lot of content in there and that alone feels overwhelming, but just download it all into Google Drive or a USB stick, and then just every week choose 2 or 3 ebooks to go over. Maybe take a Sunday like today and just like go through some of the books and learn more, because that's the problem with overwhelm, is when we are like bombarded with all kinds of information, we're like, we don't know what to do. Zero in and focus one day at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Just open one ebook at a time. Try one recipe at a time. And just like anything, just like learning a new language, it can feel overwhelming at the beginning too. But in order to learn a new language or learn a new instrument or learn a new skill, it takes time and practice. That's all it is. We're not expected to go to a foreign country and be able to have an intelligent conversation with a scientist within a week, right? It just doesn't happen. We have to take the time every day, even if it's, again, just one recipe, one ebook that you're reading, one YouTube video that you watch, and you implement what you learn from that. It doesn't have to be overnight. This is a journey. Each day you're going to learn new things, but the bundle is a great start. It's a great place for you, even if you aren't even vegan. This is a great place to start going vegan. Start with vegan, whole food, plant-based, and then start adding more raw. And the overwhelm is just simply because you don't know it yet. Yet is the key word. Yeah, so we've got a question here. Do you still do weekly lives? I just realized I haven't seen a live notification in weeks. I had to take a little bit of time off doing the lives because I filmed 75 YouTube videos and I had to edit them all. YouTube videos take a lot of work. The setup, the filming itself, the planning for the videos, and then the editing afterwards, and then the uploading and the description and the thumbnails and everything. It's a lot of work. And I filmed 75 videos for you because I'm posting for Vlogmas So starting on December 1st, it'll be a video a day for the entire month of December. We've got some recipe videos in there, some what I eat in a day videos, some talking videos. There's a lot of stuff coming. And then I also filmed every single day for January for Veganuary. So there's a little bit more of a vegan twist on the videos for Veganuary. But I have daily videos uploaded and scheduled and ready for you guys to watch up until January 31st. So that's why I had to take some time off doing the lives, because I was putting all my energy into filming for YouTube videos because I miss it over there. I do miss the lives. I really do. We're doing Monday lives, and I would like to get back to that. Hopefully after the holidays, maybe starting in 2023, we'll get back to doing weekly lives because I really love connecting with you guys. So yes, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Van is asking, the almond flour for your recipes, is that the new kind, the raw kind or regular? Honestly, it doesn't really matter because most almonds are pasteurized for sale. So you can't get a truly raw almond these days simply because they try to protect us from any pathogenic bacteria and they will pasteurize the almonds. So even raw almonds are still pasteurized. So it really doesn't matter which almond flour you get. You could take your raw almonds and grind them in a coffee grinder to make your own almond flour, or you could just get the store-bought almond flour. If you can find raw almond flour, that's awesome. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Van says the bundle is insane. It's so awesome. Seriously, I wish I could express to you guys how much amazing stuff you're getting in here. And the reason why I'm pumping it so much is because it's an incredible deal. Like, what would it be worth for you to have 200 pieces of content that could help you every week to make better choices for yourself? What would it be worth for you to have new recipes to share with your family and friends? What would it be worth to you to align your actions with your ethics and go vegan and actually have all the stuff that you are able to go vegan and to make healthier choices? What would it be worth to you? I mean, the bundle is worth almost $9,000 if you were to buy every single thing separately. And there's a lot of new stuff in there, like Derek Simnett has a new ebook in there, recipe ebook. We made the bell pepper dressing because that's raw. We made that for our salad the other night. We made Chris Kendall's creamy curry last night, and we're gonna dip into the bundle and see what else we could make for dinner tonight. So every night this week, we are diving into the bundle and checking out other people's books and seeing what we could make. And we're just trying new tastes, new flavors. It's fun to try new recipes and stuff. There's over 3,000 recipes in this bundle, and it's only $50. You buy it once, you pay $50, you download all the content, and you have all the content forever. You can open it whenever you want from your device. I recommend backing it up on a USB stick or you putting it in Google Drive so that you have a backup just in case your device dies. Then you're gonna wanna make sure that you have that as a backup. You have 1 year to download all the content after you purchase it, so make sure that you do that right away. Download it all, even though it feels overwhelming. Just go through 1 or 2 or 3 ebooks. Even just the stuff that we have in the bundle is worth the bundle itself because the content that we've contributed, Nate's Microgreens course, my taco book, the soup book, the party food book, the menu plan, and the Let It Snow is worth over $200 on its own. Even with our 60% off sale that we have now, you're still not getting it for as cheap, plus you're getting everyone else's stuff. So it's definitely an amazing deal. $50, the link is in the chat here or in my bio. Yeah, so let's see. I love the bundle too. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to everyone who has purchased it. I hope you're enjoying all the content. Where do you find coconut chunks? So it depends. You can get coconut chunks online, Amazon, you can get the coconut chunks. I personally use the young Thai coconut, the white ones, and we get those at the Asian markets. I've seen them at Whole Foods and Sprouts. I've even seen them at conventional grocery stores as well. They are more on the expensive side, but once in a while, they're really, really great to make things like the Christmas quiche that you can make from the holiday menu. That's really fun too. Let's see, we have any other questions? Okay, so moving on, the second thing that I feel people have a struggle with is social and family and friends and stuff like that when they're going raw. So the social aspect is huge, and we just really, honestly, we just want to chew together. It's really interesting to me how, let's say you have a group of 4 friends that go out for dinner, and you've got one friend orders nachos, one friend orders sushi, one friend orders pizza, and the other friend orders chicken parmesan or something. Everyone's eating something different, right? But if there was a fifth friend and they ordered a salad, for some reason, that friend is kind of like, they're an outsider because they're not, even though they're all eating something different. Like, not everyone's expected to all eat sushi. Not everyone's expected to all eat the same pizza. We just want to eat together. But then why is it when someone chooses a salad, suddenly they feel outcasted? And I think personally, it has nothing to do with us and our choices. Like, if we want to choose a salad, we can choose a salad, and it shouldn't matter. But the reason why it seems to matter to the other people is because when you change, they're scared of losing you. Plus, your salad is a mirror reflecting their choice back to them. So when they see the salad, they're like, oh, well, I should probably be eating the salad, or they're different now, or whatever. And it's funny because it's still food. Like, it shouldn't matter, but it does. And it's weird that it does. You don't get multiple people shunning someone for ordering nachos when everyone else is ordering pizza. You don't see that. And it's so interesting to me, but it's because the salad brings with it the mirror these people are seeing reflected back. And so in social settings, when we choose raw, we have to realize that any reaction that other people have towards us and our new food choices is seriously, it's kind of like, it's on them in a way. And we have a big responsibility to be an example to others, and we can show them how to eat healthfully, and we can be an example to others and realize that their reactions to our healthy meal is just a reflection of their internal feelings. So I notice there's 4 different types of people in social situations. There's the inquirer, who's genuinely interested in what you're doing and what you're eating. There's the joker, who makes jokes about what you're eating. There's the bully, who will bully you and make you feel bad for what you're eating. And then there's the debater, who will debate absolutely anything that you have to say. And somebody's saying the discussion's irrelevant. I feel like it isn't irrelevant. I think that a lot of people struggle with healthful eating, and in social situations, it's a big problem. And I get tons of messages from people asking how I would be able to do that. And I think I am going to take this person out of the chat. There we go. And because this is a genuine problem for a lot of people. People genuinely have issues with social settings because we have so many different ways to eat, and there's so much stuff out there to eat, and we all want to eat together. So it shouldn't have, thank you guys so much for saying it is relevant. That person was getting really distracting and was kind of messing with my train of thought. But I'm glad that this is really helpful to others and to you, because I do, like I said, I notice a lot of people message me and say, how do I manage social situations? And really, honestly, it boils down to one thing: show love. And it doesn't matter what we're eating. When somebody comes at us with jokes, show love. When someone comes at us kind of with a bullying attitude, show love. When someone comes at us in a debate, show love. Try to show love. Jody's Whole Food Plant-Based Life says, yes, it is. I'm facing it now with my family. And then Southern Vegan Eats says, people do all that you said when you dine with them, and they don't understand your choice to choose to eating to live. Is so true. That person is now irrelevant to us. Exactly. We don't need that distraction. And I lovingly released them from the chat. And it's interesting how people have like so many combative things to say when it comes to what we eat, when it really has nothing to do with our choices. It's all their battle within themselves when they see you eating a salad, or when they see you choosing something raw or vegan for that matter. They feel threatened that their choices are put into question. So they feel like their identity is questioned, and they might feel like they're not loved by you anymore. Like, these are all deep kind of like subconscious psychological things that go on when someone changes. It's like the crabs in the bucket story. Like, if you have a bucket of crabs and you put them on the beach, one crab might try to crawl out of the bucket, but all the other crabs will like bring that one crab back in, because it's like they don't want that crab to escape, because they'll all still be stuck in the bucket. They want that crab to be with them, because if we all choose pizza, then we're all justified in choosing pizza. But when one person chooses a salad, suddenly everyone's choice is put into question. But we're not questioning their choice. We're just choosing a salad because we want to. But realizing when it boils down to it, it's love. So when I was struggling with that, I would simply either change the subject or give them a hug or say, I'm so glad you love whatever, or you look amazing today, or thank you for coming, I really missed hanging out with you. Change the subject and really pour some love into them, because if they are being combative, then it's something within them that is struggling, and they need to feel listened to and validated and loved and respected. So these people are looking for that because they're confused, they're worried about their own choices and stuff. So that's what I found to work the best, is to really give love. So I hope that helps on that struggle. So true, people who are so triggered by our healthy choices, their reaction is a reflection of their insecurities. Well said, Wild Brazilian, well said. Carmichael07 says, I just say, why do you care what I eat? Seriously, who cares? I know, it's like we don't force our choices onto them. We might bring extra if they want to enjoy, but the thing is, I find interesting too, is that when people say, well, vegans are forcing their opinions onto us, it's like, have you looked around this world? Like, I constantly see advertising for fast food. I constantly see advertising for animal products to wear. I see it everywhere. There's restaurants on every single corner that sell animal products, and there's very, very little vegan stuff. So it's like, who is really imposing their belief on who? Right? It's not the vegans. We're not imposing it onto others. We're trying to find a way to align our ethics with our choices. So yeah, people are so triggered by someone being different. It's true. People do get triggered. And I feel like for the vast majority of people, they get irritated with it because there's something within them. So we just have to show love. So this week, if you are going to any family gatherings or what have you, bring extra of your stuff, bring extra for you to make sure that you're full and you get nourished, but show everybody love who might be sending you some weird kind of vibes. And we are forced to not only see it, but also to smell it. That's a true point too, right? Like we live really close to Heart Attack Grill here in Las Vegas, and it's so sad. Every single time we walk by, we think about all the animals that are tortured and exploited, and they just joke about it. But in reality, it's like we're the ones who live in this imperfect world, and we're trying to bring some kind of peace within ourselves. And it's really sad that our family and friends can have so many things to say, or even just strangers on the internet. They say things and they have their opinions, which is totally valid, but we can set up boundaries for ourselves, and we can show love and compassion through those boundaries. So yeah, that would be the second thing that people struggle with. I'm really enjoying this conversation, guys. I really appreciate you here. The third one I would have to say is a big struggle that I've noticed is going raw in the colder months. So wintertime, chilly climates, snow, it's cold. And as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater. I like to be all nice and cozy. But for raw in the winter, I feel like some of the biggest things that we can do to help us eat more raw, and again, it's not about being all 100% pure and perfect raw. It's about adding more raw to your diet, and you can still eat cooked food if that helps you. But if you want to consume more raw, if you feel better eating more raw, then here's some tips that can help you get through raw in the winter. Number one, eat enough. Make sure that you're eating enough calories so that you get enough fuel for your internal furnace, your metabolism. We need to eat enough so that we burn more calories. I mean, we're burning the calories, and when we don't eat, we're not burning as many calories because we're not getting enough calories. So if we are eating enough food, our metabolism works better and we feel warmer. So if you notice people who consistently undereat, they might feel way more cold way more often because their body is kind of in conservation mode, because they're like, well, if I'm only gonna get 1,000 calories, then I can only burn 1,000 calories. So I'm gonna like conserve. I'm not gonna be as warm as normal because, you know, it's like a hibernation, right? We get like chilly and cold because we are just not eating enough. So eating enough is number one. Keep that metabolism going strong. Number two, add more exercise. That's going to be really important as well. If you're feeling a little chilly, just get up and do 100 jumping jacks. You'll warm up for sure. So that's a great tip. Warm up with cozy sweaters, of course, and blankets, and warm your house if you can. But using your Vitamix and your dehydrator are really great tools to remain raw while still having like room temperature or slightly warmed foods. So the magic raw temperature, I've heard varying degrees, anywhere from 104 Fahrenheit to 120 Fahrenheit. So anywhere in there. I personally like 110 is what I normally have my stuff in at. But the beauty of this bundle that we have, the link is in the chat or in my bio. This bundle, I've included most of the stuff for holiday/winter stuff. So my Let It Snow ebook has all these tips and more in it. It's an informational ebook helping you to go raw in the winter. And it goes over my 5 years, my first 5 years raw living in Canada. So I do talk about lots of tips in there. But I also have in this bundle the soup book, which has warming, cozy soups for the winter months. There's also the holiday menu plan for your holiday feast. And there's appetizers for parties and feasts and stuff, and it uses a dehydrator as well. But the soup book is really great. And this is what you can use your Vitamix for, is blending. If you have a high-speed blender and you blend on high for about 2 minutes, it slightly warms it up. It doesn't cook it and it doesn't get too hot, but it warms it up to the point where it makes for a nice cozy meal. And if you warm the bowl up as well, you've got a nice warm bowl with a nice warm soup. It's still considered raw, but you can have a soup, a stew, a curry, or a chili. Like last night we made Chris Kendall's creamy curry from his book that's in the bundle, and it was amazingly delicious. And sure, it cools off a little faster than normal, but that's why you'd want to warm the bowl up. But it's still cozy and it's still delicious. And you can use the Vitamix to help warm up your stuff, your sauces. The third thing would be to make sure you're not eating stuff right out of the fridge, because we know that when we get in from like shoveling the snow or from a cold hike or a walk, and we get in and the thought of having a cold salad with a cold dressing that you made earlier that's been in the fridge with cold cucumber and cold tomato and cold lettuce, it just doesn't sound very appetizing. So before you go out for shoveling the snow or go for your hike or what have you, take the food out of the fridge. Like take the cucumbers. We keep our cucumbers on the counter and our tomatoes on the counter, so they're room temperature. But the lettuce, take the lettuce out and let it get to room temperature, about an hour or so if you can, if you're able to. And then you can have a room temperature salad. You can even blend the dressing for about a minute instead of 30 seconds, and it slightly warms it up. So you've got a room temperature salad, and this will help a lot. Another thing on the cold is the smoothies. So if you're making smoothies using all frozen fruit, then it's going to be cold to the core in your body. But I have found a really cool trick. If you make a smoothie with fresh fruit, and instead of having frozen fruit, you use fresh fruit and add ice, then it's just cold here, but it's not cold in the body. Not as cold. Of course, it's going to be colder, but it's not going to be that like bone-chilling cold after you have like an ice cream or an ice-cold smoothie. It's so much better. So I personally prefer using room temperature fruit, like whole, fresh, raw, not frozen fruit, and add ice to the smoothie to get it that like cold edge, but it's not really cold in the body. So that's a really great tip too. Another thing for raw in the winter is spices. Spices are so great. They stimulate your circulation. Yeah, Wheeler, he found that too. Yeah, it's a great idea to add ice to your smoothie instead of using frozen fruit. It's like a game changer when it comes to like body temperature. So, and spices. Spices are key. I found that I was able to do raw fairly easy in the winter in Canada because I used a lot of spices. A lot of warming spices like ginger, cayenne pepper, all the chilies, rosemary, cardamom. There's so many warming spices out there that you can add. And it's interesting how a lot of our Thanksgiving or fall harvest spices are all warming spices. Like all the pumpkin spice, the cinnamon, and the allspice, and the ginger. These are all really warming spices. Rosemary, thyme, garlic is warming as well. So spicy stuff. Get those spices in and help. Let's see. Oh, we've got some question in here. Not judging and showing love is definitely the answer. The more hate jokes and comments I get, the more love I give. It's a slap in their faces. It's true. It's like, you know, that term, kill them with kindness. It's true. They really, honestly, the jokes, the debates, and the bullying all stems from an insecurity. And that's their way of protecting themselves. It's kind of like like the jokers, it's comic relief. Like it's like they feel better about their insecurity by doing that way. So yeah, it's interesting how that's their reaction, but our reaction should always be love. But yeah, so winter, I hope those tips helped. Again, I have an ebook in the bundle called Let It Snow, which goes deeper into detail of all of these things and social situations and holidays and stuff. So that book is in the bundle. The bundle link is in the chat here or in my bio. It's only $50 and you're getting almost $9,000 worth of content. 5 of my ebooks, Nate's Microgreens video course, teaching you how to grow microgreens, how to ferment your own vegetables, how to sprout. And there's a vegan cheese making guide in there. There's vegan pregnancy, vegan kid stuff. There's lots of raw stuff. There's fitness stuff. There's abs challenges. There's countless things in here. I wish I could tell you everything. There's over 200 things in this bundle and you're getting it for $50. So click the link in the chat. You can always come back to the live, go grab the bundle, come back, hang out with us. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some other struggles that people have on raw and yours. If you guys have any struggles, feel free to post in the chat. But yeah, go grab the bundle, link in my bio or in the chat here. The next thing I see that people struggle with a lot on a raw diet is not eating enough. This is something that I talk about in pretty much every single video I do. We have to make sure that we eat enough. The reason is because raw food is so low calorie that we have to eat more of it in order to get enough calories to sustain our body functions and our activity levels. So we've got to eat enough. It's super, super important. And I would have to say this is the number one thing that people struggle with on a raw diet. If you go too long without eating on any diet, you risk deficiency, and this is included with a raw diet. Doesn't matter what you're eating. If you are under eating, then you're going to run into issues. It could eventually lead to protein deficiency. And I know protein deficiency isn't like really a thing because people are overeating protein in general, but when you're only eating 800 to 1,000 calories a day, you are in a starvation state and you're not eating enough. And I know people do this often. They're skipping meals, they're going too long without eating, they're intermittent fasting, and then they can't get all their calories in when they start eating. They're portion controlling, or they just genuinely don't know how much they need to eat in order to get enough calories in. So some days you might only end up eating 800 to 1,000 calories because one big gigantic massive salad of Nate and I's is maybe only 500 to 700 calories. And we fill up so full, we're like, well, I'm so stuffed. Not like that, but you know, like you feel like full and satiated on 500 to 700 calories because it's water rich and fiber rich. And those are the top two contributors to calorie density. The more water you have and the more fiber you have, the lower the calories are of the food. You can fit a lot of water and a lot of fiber into your stomach, so you have to actually eat more often to get enough total calories in the day and enough nutrition. Because if you're under eating, then you risk things like losing your period for women, losing your hair, feeling cold all the time, irritability, headaches, a lot of things that people think are detox, which is not necessarily always detox. Most of the time, people are experiencing these symptoms because they're just not eating enough. So, solutions to if you aren't eating enough. Number one, I would say get onto chronometer.com and start tracking your calories. Learn what you're putting into your body. Learn how many calories a giant salad is. Learn how much food you're eating and what kind of nutrition you're getting. And then you can see like, oh, well, maybe I need to eat more greens to get more calcium, more greens to get more iron, more sprouts to get more protein. Maybe I need more fruit to get more calories and more of whatever it is. And you can tweak that as you go. But number one, start to learn about what you're eating and how much you're actually eating. And with time, you'll be able to learn and you won't need to rely on chronometer or tracking because you'll just know. Again, it's like learning a new language. You got to take it one day at a time and just start where you're at and then build from there. Quirky's asking tips on how to eat fully raw where students and have regular work hours. That's a great one too. We'll get into that in a second. I'll talk about that. Oh, tips on vegan, on budget friendly. Yes, I've got that as a topic here next coming up. So yes, these are great struggles and I really want to talk about those. So yeah, number one is to get on Chronometer and start tracking your calories to make sure that you're eating enough. Number two would be to start slowly adding more raw to your meals. Like if you already have a smoothie in the morning and it's say 200 or 300 calories, start adding 2 more bananas to that smoothie to boost the calorie count. Add an extra cup of berries, add an extra piece of fruit. And number 3, snack on fruit throughout the day. So if you have 15-minute break, have 2 apples if you can, or have a couple bananas, or have something on your breaks so that you make sure that you are constantly fueling yourself up and getting those necessary calories so that you can function properly throughout the day and you get enough nutrition as well. Another thing would be to add more raw to your already cooked meals if you're having cooked food, which is totally fine when you're transitioning or whatever. It's not evil. But adding more raw will help as well so that you can get more of those healthy nutrition and stuff like that in there. So those would be my tips to adding more raw and making sure that you eat enough. Really learn what you're eating and start to slowly add more raw here and there. Like make a bigger salad, make a bigger smoothie, have those snacks. So yeah, how to get more protein when I can't get enough. The protein thing is very interesting because the RDA for protein, which for women is 46 grams a day, the RDA for protein was set at double the amount the person in the study who needed the most had. So the person in the study who needed the most amount of protein, the most active, the most physical, the most everything, they doubled that for us. So they're like, well, just in case of someone who needed more, let's double it. So we really don't need that much protein. The thing is, if you're eating enough calories, you're probably going to be getting enough protein. If you're eating enough calories of variety, that is, right? Like we could eat enough calories of one food, but you might not be getting enough nutrition from just one food. And you're obviously not feeding your microbiome because the microbiome thrives on variety. So if you're eating enough calories of whole raw plant foods and you're eating variety, then you're probably getting enough protein. It's pretty much super easy. Like I eat 2,400 calories a day and I easily get 65 to 80 grams of protein a day. Sprouts, greens, leafies, those are really great sources. Any vegetables, fruit has protein. We just have to eat enough of it and get enough variety and we easily hit our targets, then from there you can tweak things. You can be like, oh, well, maybe I'll add an extra cup of sprouts to get an extra few grams. Maybe I'll have an extra head of lettuce with my salad. It's only 100 calories, but it gives you 7 grams of protein. So slowly adding more food and making sure that you're eating enough calories is going to help you to get enough protein, get enough calcium, to get enough iron. But it has to be variety. Remember, greens and sprouts are just as important as fruit. So we got to be eating a wide variety. So let's talk a little bit about the time stuff, the student question and people who work at work. Dinner typically is the hardest meal of the day because we go too long without eating or we don't eat enough during the day. So dinner tends to be the hardest meal. So in order to help with that, number one, I would say start loading up on your calories early in the morning and in the early hours of the day. So Nate and I, we aim to eat around 1,000 calories worth of fruit before lunch. So that could be whole fruit, smoothies, ice cream, whatever it is. You could blend 2 smoothies. You could drink one before work and then take the other one to work and drink it at your desk if you're able to, or take quick breaks and drink it at work if you can. Make sure that you get enough calories in your little 15-minute breaks if you have those. Grab some fruit, have fruit as a snack during those hours. And also, I know when I was in school, I was able to eat in class. So it really depends on where you go to school, and have a conversation with your employer or your teacher or what have you and say, I need to make sure that I eat this healthy food. Is it possible if I can have snack on an apple during class? And even in between classes, if you're walking to another class or what have you, snack on some fruit, grab some fruit, make sure that you're eating stuff, because when we go too long without eating, we don't get enough calories in and our brain starts to be sluggish. We can't learn as well. We can't work as well. We've got to eat enough calories. So starting earlier helps a lot. We eat whole fruit first thing in the morning when we get up. We'll drink our liter of water and then we have about 300 or 400 calories worth of fruit. And then we go for our walk. And then when we come back, then we have our big smoothie, our 600 or 700 calorie smoothie in the morning. And then if we need another smoothie or snacks before lunch, we'll do that as well. But typically that's around 1,000 calories worth of fruit before lunch. Then at work or at school, you could have your healthy, raw or vegan lunch. And then this is the trick. Between lunch and the time you get home. So let's say a 9-to-5 job, for example, you eat lunch at 11:30 or noon. And then by the time you're done work, you're tired, you've used up a lot of energy, maybe you didn't get a break within that time, it's 5 o'clock, and then by the time you pack up from work and you get in your vehicle, blah, 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 it's 5:15, 5:30, you talk with coworkers, whatever, and then you have to drive home, you have to pick up the kids, you have to go to the grocery store, you have to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. By the time you get home, it's like 6:30, maybe 7, and then you're like, it's been 7 hours since you've eaten anything. This is why dinner is the hardest meal of the day, because we go way too long without eating. So one of the biggest things that you can do is after school or after work, before you head home, make sure that you have some fruit or a mini salad or some kind of raw food that you can eat in your vehicle before you leave the office or in your office before you leave work. And eat that before you drive home, because it's going to really help you drive past the drive-thrus, pick up only what you need at the grocery store, and choose something healthfully for you for dinner, because you are in a state of feeling like, oh, wow, I ate something healthy. And I feel really good and empowered that I chose something healthy leaving work. Now I can choose something healthy for dinner. We choose unhealthy things for dinner because we've gone so long without eating that everything and anything looks good. Takeout sounds good, ordering on the internet sounds good, going through that drive-through sounds good, picking up a pizza at the grocery store sounds good, because we're hungry. That's why it sounds good. But if you can fuel yourself up on healthy options before you leave for work, then it's really going to give you that willpower and strength to make another healthy choice when you get home. So those would be my suggestions. Have a conversation with your employer or your teacher to see if you can have snacks in your day. Fuel up most of your calories in the morning if you can. Take your own food. Make sure you use your breaks to your advantage. Don't waste your break sitting on the phone, watching videos or what have you. Focus on your food and make sure that you fuel up. Take those 15-minute breaks, have those snacks, and use the time if you have the time, make sure that you use it and value it. And yes, I will save this live. This live will be also downloaded and put on YouTube. So if you miss it, you can come back and watch further. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate you. I hope these are helping you. And if they are, if you want to support us, if you want to grab almost $9,000 worth of vegan content for $50, please go grab the bundle. The link is in the chat. This is our bundle event. This helps us to continue doing what we do and to continue helping you. And remember, if you have any questions ever, at any time of the day, any time of the year, send me a DM because I want to be here to help you. And the reason I'm able to help you is because people buy the bundle, they support us, and we're able to help. So I really want to help you at any time. Whenever you need me, I want to be here for you because I didn't have somebody when I started Raw, and I had to figure a lot of it out all on my own. But I want to be here for you. I send voice messages if you have any issues. I'm very happy to help. So yes, this live will be saved. Yes. Okay. Let's talk about budget because that's next on my list. Budgeting as a raw vegan. So yes, organic, beautiful, exotic foods can be expensive. The thing is, it doesn't have to be expensive. And the reason being is we don't have to eat 100% purely organic if we can't afford it. This is a big thing. I would rather see, and for myself, I would rather consume conventional foods in abundance with a lot of variety than to stress out trying to afford only organic. It's really hard to afford only organic, and the variety just isn't there for my microbiome. So I do personally buy a lot of conventional foods. We do buy organic stuff when it makes sense, when it looks good. And we call ourselves accidentally organic buyers because sometimes we'll find something on sale and be like, oh, look at this. Oh, bonus, it's organic, right? So we do buy a lot of organic and we do try, but we don't force ourselves because it would cost us 3 times more money to eat all organic. And I'm not saying that organic is you don't have to worry about it. Organic is great. Organic has less pesticide use. They still use pesticides. They're just approved pesticides. So there are less pesticides on organic. They're farmed better and stuff like that. They have more minerals and more nutrients and stuff. But if you can't afford it, then it's not worth stressing out over getting 100% organic. Get it when you can and when it makes sense. But I'd rather see you guys enjoy an abundance of calories and not have to suffer from undereating and being undernourished just because you're trying to only eat organic or only eat raw or only eat certain things. If you cannot afford to do all raw, do as much raw as you possibly can. This isn't a competition. It's not who can be more raw or who can be 100% for the longest. It's about what works for you with your situation. And you know exactly what that is. So work on adding more raw as often as you can and choose the inexpensive cooked vegan options that are whole food. For example, sweet potatoes, Yes, organic food uses pesticides. They do, but they're just approved pesticides. They're not as intense as some of the other ones. But for example, I learned a few summers ago from an organic cherry farmer in Canada, all organic cherries are sprayed with a pesticide because if they are not, we wouldn't have organic cherries because there's a worm that eats them all right at harvest. So we wouldn't have organic cherries if they didn't use a spray. So they're just different sprays. They're considered organic sprays, but they do still have chemicals in them. So really it's about doing the best that you can and being able to enjoy an abundance of stuff and work within your means. Another thing that we like to do, we like to buy bulk whenever possible. So someone had mentioned Costco. Costco is a great place. Frozen fruit is really great. It might be pasteurized or flash frozen, pasteurized to get rid of any bacteria so that you don't get sick. That's why they do it. It's not considered technically raw, but meh, no big deal. If it helps you to get more calories and to get more nutrition, choose the frozen vegetables. You can get frozen veggies at Costco for a lot less money than most grocery stores. And the cool thing about frozen fruit is that they freeze it at its ripest point. So you're getting really, really, really ripe fruit when you buy frozen fruit, despite it being pasteurized. So if you're looking for the nutrition, then get the frozen fruit, because that can really help with your smoothies and stuff. Stick with fruit that's in season. Like right now, mangoes are silly expensive, but persimmons are cheap. So we're gonna eat more persimmons than we would mangoes. We haven't bought mangoes in a little while because they're way too expensive right now. They're out of season. But when they're in season, we load up on mangoes. In Vegas here, we can get 6 Atalfo mangoes for $1. And we shop at other stores. That's another tip that I wanted to say. The only place to buy bulk is Costco. Yeah, and it depends on the area that you're in. Like here in Las Vegas, we surprisingly don't have a wholesale produce vendor here. But in LA, when we went with John Kohler, and we might go back in December to LA to buy more bulk produce, we went to the place where the grocery stores buy the food. So you can buy cases of stuff. Like we got a case. Get this, a case of organic celery. There was 36 heads of organic celery for $18. And they were big heads. So it is possible to do it, but I mean, we have to drive to LA to do that. So it is a big production. We will buy the case of celery and then we'll chop it up and freeze a lot of it for our raw soups. And if you get the bundle, you get my soup book in there, and you can use things like frozen carrot, frozen celery. Like you can chop it up yourself fresh and freeze it so it's not pasteurized or blanched, so it's technically still raw. And you can use frozen stuff. You can buy bulk and then freeze it. Buy bulk berries in the summertime when berries are cheap, freeze them, and then you have berries for the winter when they're more expensive. So freezing does not destroy all the vitamins. This is a great thing that I want to mention. Freezing does not destroy all the vitamins. Sure, a little bit might be less, but using the word all is an absolute statement, and that is fear-based. That actually scares people away from actually even eating some frozen fruit, which would be way better than eating frozen takeout dinner or whatever, or skipping a meal. I would much rather see people eat frozen fruit and have a little bit less vitamins than the fresh than to not eat it at all. That's the thing. We have to be really, really careful with absolute statements, because using things like all vitamins are destroyed in cooking. That's not true. It's not true. It doesn't destroy all the nutrients. It lowers the amount slightly, but again, it all depends on good, better, best. Yeah, for sure, fresh fruit is ideal, but some people cannot afford it, and that's what this conversation is about. We have to go with what works for us at any given time. Choose fresh when you can, but you could still do frozen fruit and you're still getting nutrition from it. There's plenty of people who heal cancer and arthritis, and they reverse heart disease eating cooked food and frozen food. So it's not that we're not getting any nutrients when we freeze the food. It's just slightly less. It's still a really beneficial option. So I really wanted to talk about that because it's very, very important. And frozen fruit is actually frozen at its ripest, so it's going to have even more nutrition than, say, an unripe piece of fresh fruit that you might buy from the grocery store that was picked unripe. So technically, these are little tiny tweaks, some stuff that people get way overworked over. Again, it boils down to eating enough, eating whole food, eating variety, and eating plants. So yes, there are vitamins in pasteurized juices. There are flavonoids and antioxidants in juices that have been pasteurized. I know it. The thing is, vitamins are lessened, not destroyed completely. That's the thing. It's confusing for a lot of people when they come into this kind of world. When they hear these absolute statements, they get scared and then they don't even try. So honestly, I would much rather see people consuming these things than consuming animal products or consuming fast food or processed food. I'd much rather see them drink a pasteurized juice than have McDonald's burger because they're scared of the fact that there's no vitamins in a pasteurized juice. And definitely, this is a big issue that I see far too often. The absolutes scare people away. So yeah, I would warn people against hearing absolutes. Really do your research, dig into it, because people are still getting nutrients when they're eating things that have been cooked. So I'm not saying that cooked food is poison. I'm saying just work with where you're at and add more raw food as you can. And don't worry about being pure and perfect like somebody on the internet might want you to be. Work with where you're at and don't worry about being scared into eating raw. You should be wanting to eat raw because you want to, not because you're being scared or feared into it. That's such a dangerous thing, and I see far too many people struggle on a raw diet because they're trying to reach this level of perfection, eating the most perfect food and the most nutrient dense and everything. That's an issue that we have. I didn't say there's no nutrients in cooked or frozen or that they are the same as soda. The thing is, people are being scared into not even consuming it because they're scared that they're not getting any nutrients. So really, it boils down to making sure we eat enough, making sure we eat variety, whether that's cooked or raw. Focus on eating whole food, plant-based first, and then start adding more raw as you go. And don't worry about any other absolute statements out there, because I've seen a lot of them and they can really have like innocent people who are trying to eat healthier get really scared away from cooked food. And it's, yeah, no, they are scared. They are scared. I get hundreds and thousands of messages of people who are struggling trying to eat more raw because they're worried that they're not going to get enough nutrition or that cooked food is poison. I get a lot of messages. So that's why I'm really adamant about bringing this topic to light, because not very many people like to talk about it. It's an unpopular opinion because people like the extremism. They like the fear of the cooked food is poison or something. So yeah, it's definitely a topic that I'm passionate about, and I know people aren't going to agree with me, and that's okay, but I'm trying to help the 97% of the people out there who are still struggling, trying to even eat more vegetables, not trying to get people eating more pure or what have you. Southern Vegan Eats says, when we become too judgmental on eating vegan or raw vegan, it hurts the vegan agenda. That's a very good point. When we're getting too into this the nitty gritty little tiny aspects of it, it scares away the 97% who sort of think that we're like extremists and cooked food is poison and all that. So I think it does a disservice personally. Jameis Shimon says, I got the bundle and there's so many recipes and other helpful bits of content in there. I've been raw until dinner. That's awesome for the past month and looking to make a leap with new recipes. Thank you so much for grabbing the bundle. The link is in the chat here or in my bio if you want to add more vegan foods into your life, both raw or cooked or what have you, some healthy options. You can find a lot of really cool stuff in the bundle, and it's only $50. The total value of the bundle is almost $9,000. If you were to buy everything separately, you're getting 5 of my ebooks, you're getting Nate's Microgreens course, you're getting all kinds of really delicious stuff. So yeah, definitely grab the bundle. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So yeah, thank you so much for chatting with me too. And again, like I said, I'm very passionate about these topics because I get so many stories from people struggling, and I really want to help you guys to really choose raw in a balanced way, not in an extreme way, not in an absolute way, not in a black and white way. We can work within where we're at and constantly improve and choose it because we want to. So I'm really passionate. And again, I know not everyone's going to agree with everything I say, but that's okay. I don't agree with everything that some of the people I really enjoy following. I don't agree with everything they say either, but I take certain things that I really resonate with, and I love them as people, and I love anyone who even disagrees with me. I'm honored that you're here and that you are listening and spending the time. So thank you very much. We know you're trying to help people. Negative people are just negative. It's sad, but true. And again, I've learned over the last 8 years being on social media that I can't please everybody, and I never will. So I've come to grips with that. And I just really want to help those who do need the help and to talk about these difficult topics, because people do get really into the extremes and they want to be a certain way, or they want to do certain for like so many days or what have you. And it can backfire a lot of times. Moving forward and working with your body and working with your gut and just simply enjoying your life and making those choices that are beneficial to you slower over time can really help lessen the overwhelm and actually keep our mental health healthy. Because that's the thing. We can have the most perfect diet on the planet, but if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves and with our food, then is it really that healthy? Is it really that healthy? Our mental health is so important, and far too many people fall into a really restrictive state, and that can eventually lead to gut dysbiosis and mental health issues and deficiencies because they might be too scared to eat certain things. Orthorexia, I believe, is a real thing. People get way too into like the minuscule little tiny things about their diet, and then they start to choose things out of fear instead of out of desire and actually out of true respect for the body, or forcing themselves to follow a diet when they can't afford it or what have you, when all it is about adding more raw food to your life, choosing vegan, aligning your ethics with your actions, and eating more whole plants. Again, whether they're whole or cooked, that's up to you and wherever you want to go with it, but to not do it out of fear. I think that is definitely one of the bigger struggles that people have. Let's see, the last one that I wanted to talk about, and then if you guys have any struggles that you want to discuss on here, please post in the chat. But I want to talk about the state of your gut before going raw. This is the final one that I want to talk about today, is the state of your gut before going raw. So I don't think that everyone can just jump into a raw diet right off the bat, because it depends on their gut microbiome. So I personally believe that a raw diet is ideal for humans. However, we all come from a different past of eating and a different gut microbiome creation over life, that we now can't always jump right into our ideal diet because our gut has to catch up to it. And if you come from a diet, a low fiber diet, standard North American, maybe lots of animal products or lots of processed foods, or super, super low fiber, like the average person only eats 5 to 10 grams of fiber a day, when the RDA is a pitiful 30 grams. Nate and I eat around 80 to 100 grams. Could you imagine somebody who eats 5 to 10 grams of fiber a day regularly jumping into a raw diet and suddenly eating 80 to 100 grams of fiber? That's going to be an overload on their microbiome. It doesn't mean that the food isn't human food. It means that their microbiome is not ready to digest that amount. That's why going slow is a really great idea for many people, because they're coming from a dysbiotic gut, a gut that needs help and needs nourishment and needs tender loving care. We've got to feed our microbiome more fiber and more fiber varieties to help it grow, so that we can eat 80 to 100 grams of fiber in a day. And we can do it with very little gas, hardly any bloating, that kind of thing. We want to be able to move towards higher fiber, but it's hard when you have been coming from a diet that is very, very low fiber. So this is another biggest struggle that people have, is their gut microbiome, the state of their current gut microbiome, which can change. It can change, and we've seen it countless times. Even after doing a raw diet for 7 years, I got a gut microbiome test, and my overall score was 83%, which I thought was pretty good considering I was a bottle-fed baby. I didn't get my life started with a really great, awesome, amazing microbiome like breastfed babies do. So I was already at a disadvantage. There's gut disease that runs in my family. My uncle died with Crohn's disease. My mom had colon cancer. So there's a lot of gut issues that run in my family. So I already started out life with gut issues, and I struggled with gut issues right up until I went raw. So Even after 7 years raw, my gut score was 83%. But in the last 9 months or 10 months now, Nate and I have changed a few things that we eat. We have been adding more daily sunchokes, which is high in inulin. Really, really amazing food for the microbiome. I've added near daily asparagus and fennel seeds. I eat every single day on my salad. Fennel bulb we eat a lot of. Endive, radicchio, frisee, the chicory family, which is high in inulin. I've added more garlic and more onions. And my gut score in the last 10 months has increased to 91% overall score. My diversity score is in the 95th percentile. So I've got a very wide diversity of microbiome. And my score, the balance between the microbiomes has gone up to 91%. So even after 7 years of eating raw, I'm still improving as I go. So it's really important to realize that even if you're starting out with a weak microbiome, you can grow it, but it's going to take months to years to grow it. And you have to be patient with yourself and go slow. Start adding more new fibers slowly to your diet. Like we're talking starting with like a tablespoon, or start with, like somebody had mentioned here, are smoothies a good way to transition? Smoothies are great because you can kind of break down a little bit of the fiber slightly, and you can, but chew your smoothies, like swish them around, get the digestion going in your mouth before it goes into your colon. But yeah, what is the name of the test? I'm curious for comparison over time. We use Ombre Lab. OMBRELAB.com. I'm sure they have a Black Friday sale going on. I actually got our kits last time they had a 40% off sale, so I don't need to get them for Black Friday. But definitely grab one of their tests. Like I said, I'm sure they have a Black Friday sale. Ombre Lab is the company that we use for our microbiome tests. And we're going to be testing about twice a year, or like every 7 or 8 months, we do a test just to see how we're going and what we can tweak. And they offer suggestions of foods that grow your microbiome. So, yeah, definitely work with where you're at. Start to go slow. Start adding more raw foods as you go and work up to more fiber. Get your gut microbiome tested and see where you're starting at, and then just slowly add more raw food to your diet. Don't worry about jumping in right away or being pure and perfect and only eating 100% perfect raw foods right off the bat if you can't. It's okay. And again, no one's giving out a medal for who can be raw the fastest or the longest or what have you. Work with where you're at, honor your body, work with your body instead of against it. Can you talk more about the importance of chewing very well? Yes, I can. This is another struggle that people have on raw. They're not chewing their food enough. I post a challenge for all of you here in this chat. Next time you eat, try to slow down first, but try to count to 80 chews every single bite. Do that for about 4 or 5 bites, and you'll really realize how little we actually do chew. Try to chew 80 to 100 times. Start with 80 and then try to do 100. It really mushes down to basically nothing. We're mushing our saliva with our carbohydrates and our other food. Digestion begins in the mouth. The stomach does not have teeth. The mouth is in charge of chewing everything up into a very small amount of food that goes into the stomach. When you chew really well, you can fit more into your stomach, because if you're swallowing things after 5 to 12 bites or chews, you're not going to have as much room in your stomach. So chewing really well is very, very important. I know it takes more time, but this is the part of the mechanics of digestion. Our modern world isn't set up for us to really take care of our bodies, right? Yes, it takes longer to chew, but chewing is super important. It's the first step in digestion. We mix our saliva and the amylase with our carbohydrates. So when you're eating high carbohydrate diet, which most vegans are, we need to chew our food to start the digestive process. So when it gets into our stomach, our body is like, oh, thank you. Instead of looking up and being like, come on, teeth, you didn't do your job. Because the stomach does not have teeth. So yeah, chewing is incredibly important. Not only is chewing important for digestion, but it's also important for breath. It improves your sleep. The more we chew our food, the better we breathe, the better our sleep becomes, which is very, very interesting. That's why eating soft foods and drinking juices isn't really beneficial to our sleep and our breath because we're not working our jaw muscles. We have to work our jaw muscles so all the muscles in our face are toned so that our breath improves. And I learned this from the Breath book by James Nestor. It's an essential part of our human physiology. We're meant to chew food so that we can breathe properly and in turn sleep properly. So very, very interesting there. Would you chew your smoothies? Yes, I would. Chewing your smoothies is really great. Just get the saliva going, chew them a couple times, right? I do drink my smoothies when I'm in a rush, but I do know, like, I'm human like everyone else. I do always have to consciously take an effort to make sure that I chew my smoothies as well. Is the testing link in your bio? No, it's not. The link in my bio is actually for the plant-based bundle. That is the $50 Black Friday sale that we have. You're getting almost $9,000 worth of vegan content for $50. So that's the link in my bio. But Ombre Lab, I'm going to post it in the chat right now. I'm going to tag them actually. Ombre Lab. There we go. It's in the chat right now for those of you who want to get that. Let's see, do we have any other questions? Thank you guys so much for joining. This has been so fun. That's incredibly interesting for its effect on sleep. Yes, it is very interesting. And it's interesting also that our mushy food is indirectly contributing to sleep disorders like sleep apnea, right? When you take the two into account, the soft food is really calorie dense and not a lot of chewing, and it's causing not only deficiencies in heart disease and cancer and all those other things, but it's also causing sleep issues. So important to chew our food. I found your page recently and this is my first live of yours. I'm watching and I'm learning so much. Endless Summer, welcome so much. Thank you, thank you. Glad you found my page. Again, I'm always here for anybody who has questions. Send me a DM and I'm happy to brainstorm with you and chat about your struggles or any questions that you have. I really love helping, and again, the bundle is what helps us to continue to do this. So if you wanted to support us and you wanted to get almost $9,000 worth of vegan content, I mean, for $50, it's so awesome. You're getting 5 of my ebooks. You're getting the taco book, the soup book, the holiday menu book, the appetizer party food book, and my Let It Snow, How to Go Raw in the Winter book. You're also getting Nate's Microgreens video course, and his Dude Food Raw Vegan Meal Plan, and his Alive, teaching the importance of sprouts and microgreens. And you're getting, again, almost $9,000 worth of stuff. So vegan cheese making courses, there's fitness plans, there's ab challenges, there's vegan pregnancies, stuff for vegan kids, there's informational stuff, there's how to go vegan, there's meal plans and guides, and there's even courses on how to deal with anxiety as a vegan. Like, there's so much stuff in this bundle. It's worth the $50. Just get the bundle right now. Download it all, and then you have it forever. So it's not like you have to use it all right away. Make sure you download it all right away, because you only have a year to download the content. But once you download it, it's on your device. Put it in Google Drive so you always have access to it, and just enjoy 2 or 3 ebooks every weekend and love all the content. It's here for you and it helps support us. So grab the bundle. The link is in the chat or in my bio. Thank you. You're really very acknowledgeable and give great advice for the raw lifestyle, because I was following Freely for a bit and she doesn't give much knowledgeable advice. Everybody is going to have their own views and stuff like that. And I like what Nate says. He likes to be like Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee would take little pieces of every one of his the people that he looked up to, and he made his own. And that's kind of what we like to do. We like to look towards other people, take what resonates with us, what makes the most logical sense, and then apply it to our lifestyle, and to help to teach other people a different perspective. Because I'm not going to agree with everything everyone says, and there's people obviously in this chat that don't agree with everything that I say, but it's just like listening, being open to listening to it and taking that information in and really looking at things logically with a neutral emotional state, not getting too worked up about it. I mean, I am passionate, but I do also dive into the science behind it, and I look at what is going on on the molecular level, on the cellular level. What's actually happening in the body? What do we know about it? And then I make a logical choice based on that, not based off of fear or because someone on the internet said, or I saw a meme somewhere. So I really try to be balanced with the stuff that I share with you guys. And I try to just like brainstorm ideas on how to help to just get you to help eat more raw food. That's the whole goal of my channel here. We've got a comment. The bundle is seriously awesome. I got it the other day. It's genuinely an amazing value. Good recipes are huge when transitioning. Totally true. Yeah, there's vegan transition guides in here. There's actually a lot of raw content. So again, if you guys want to support us and you want to get all of this amazing content, it's only $50. It's our Black Friday sale. The link is in the chat down here or in my bio. And looks like we are done for questions for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, thank you so much for joining me here and chatting about the common raw struggles that I see and possible solutions. So I hope you guys had a great time, and I love you all. Thank you very much for making compassionate choices and for doing your best with where you're at and with what you have, and not worrying about what other people say on the internet or comparing yourself to others or feeling overwhelmed with going raw. Just start adding more raw to your diet and going vegan and choosing more compassionate food choices. I appreciate you so much. And again, check out the bundle. You can go to the website and scroll through it and see everything that you're getting for the $50. You're getting everything on the website. So when you go to click on that and you scroll through, you're gonna be like, wow. Like, you get everything on the website for $50. So go check it out, and we will be back for another live, another time, maybe tomorrow. I think I'll go live with you tomorrow. And on Tuesday, we are going to be live making soup on Chef AJ's YouTube channel. I believe that's at 2 p.m. PST. So join us over on her channel for that on Tuesday. And yeah, check out the bundle. I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me, and fruit on.